So it says, actor Bruce Willis becomes first celebrity to sell rights to deepfake firm. Cue the creepy music.
I hate, first of all, that it's called Deepcake because it reminds me of the Is It Cake meme where, like, you're going to cut into Bruce Willis and realize that it's cake and that's his digital twin. Another thing I hate is the term digital twin completely. Like, that's so creepy. Gives me, like, The Shining vibes.
The whole thing is, so it says, action movie legend Bruce Willis has become the first Hollywood actor to sell his rights to the possibility of a digital twin to the U.S. firm Deepfake, according to The Telegraph. With the use of deepfake technology, Willis has offered his likeness to be used on screen for future projects, following his first experience with the digital media manipulation in a commercial for a Russian phone service named Megaphone last year. I can play a couple of seconds of that clip.
You sure it's not copywritten?
We won't be able to play the audio, but it's in Russian. Does anybody here speak Russian? I don't speak Russian.
I learned the Cyrillic alphabet last night, actually.
Oh!
I memorized it. It's nice.
So here's the internet's been lagging a little here, but you can see some of it here. That's not Bruce Willis on the left there. So you see it. So then they basically go through and they talk about. I want to go back to that clip here where it's them at the part. There's one good close up of his face that looks pretty good. Like that one doesn't. I don't think that one actually looks all that great. Like right there, I don't think that looks very much like him. But that looks kind of good. It's like if you look.
If you watched it and they didn't tell you it was a deep fake, would you have suspected it?
Yeah, like it's
because I feel like if you aren't warned about it beforehand, you're more likely to believe it's real.
Same thing with AI art.
I've seen interviews with like tech executives and other people that I feel like look deep faked, but it's not confirmed or even hinted. Like I saw an interview of Jeff Bezos where I was sure, like completely sure that it was deepfaked, but no one was talking about it.
It's pretty common for like world leaders to have body doubles, right? In celebrities, like to have like body
and just deepfake their face.
Those
but then that
nootropics.
means. So is he selling only his face and his likeness and not his voice? He's going to have to...
The voice would come with it as well, I'm assuming.
It's a package deal?
Yeah, so it says...
So it's interesting that they're doing this because he retired...
because of his aphasia
Because of his aphasia. So we're seeing with him and then with James Earl Jones retiring because...
Because he's 91. And
because he's 91 and his voice is not what his voice used to be.
Yep.
It's not just age that is going to make certain entertainers obsolete now, but like imagine even if you are not reaching an old age or you're not diagnosed with a serious illness, if you become undesirable to the entertainment industry in any way, then it seems favorable to sell your image or your voice.
Or imagine you sell your image and likeness, and then you use something they don't like, and they start giving you nothing but awful roles.
Yeah, so like imagine when younger stars go through bad phases, and they're hard to work with, or anyone is labeled difficult to work with. That's a huge thing that gets people blacklisted in the industry. Then are they just going to sell their likeness in favor of?
Brendan Fraser got very fat, and now they might sell his young likeness when he was all ripped and muscular. They could take like ugly, overweight people and make them look thin, take their likeness and make them look thin. How long are these contracts? How long is this Bruce Willis contract?
The Bruce Willis one, they don't mention length of the contract. They just mentioned that he sold it. I'll read what he says.
If they don't mention it, you can assume that it's permanent because James Earl Jones sold his voice for permanent use.
Yeah.
Like
they could
in
put
all
him on, like,
in all
porn.
dimensions, in all universes or multiverses.
It's very concerning.
In the metaverse, anywhere.
They could have
at
him
all
incite
times.
wars. They could have him do all sorts of crazy stuff if they own his voice.
There's
and his likeness.
there's no clause against anything.
Even if the contract runs out, then it would be up to your estate.
And at that point,
and they're going to do it
is your
anyways.
estate even going to remember you? That's not your family.
So it says this is him talking about his experience working with Deepfake, which was the company that made the Russian commercial for Megaphone. It says, I like the precision with which my character turned out. It's a mini movie in my usual action comedy genre. For me, it's a great opportunity to go back in time. With the advent of modern technology, even when I was on another continent, I was able to communicate, work, and participate in the filming. It's a very new and interesting experience, and I thank our entire team. I'm thinking of like, imagine like you're for an actor and they want to shoot a scene in a particular country, and they can't get you there to do it or something has to be done in a crunch, they could shoot it with a double and then deep fake later in a pinch if they needed that exact shot in that exact place. Or think of like, there's a lot of pro wrestlers, for example, who get in trouble with the law that can't travel internationally because of once you have a felony on your record or something like that, you can't travel internationally without like
for some
waiver.
reason, for some other regulation that a certain country has, you're not allowed there.
Yeah.
Certain athletes have experienced. If you go to deepcake.io, it shows a bunch of different side-by-sides with the Bruce Willis deepfake, where they show you like different scenes that they've done with him. At the top, yeah. It just shows you different side-by-sides.
Oh, it's so terrifying.
Many different ones.
It's so terrifying. That one looks really good.
Yeah. The way they're decapitating him on the promo video.
Do you think he did this? Do you think he did this because of his of the aphasia diagnosis? That he just saw it as a way to provide for his family forever.
Yeah, and
I suppose so, but he could do that anyway.
Yeah,
it's
it's not like he's going to be.
He's trying to provide for like his great grandchildren, I suppose.
It's like his legacy. People will, if they keep using Bruce Willis for decades and thousands of years, he'll be still like relevant. I don't know if it's kind of
like the new way to generational wealth.
My father invented toaster strudel. Is now my father sold his likeness to a deepfake firm.
It's really dangerous for a corporation to own your likeness because they can make you do whatever they want. I don't know what the contract says. If they're like, if they want to make him step out and say World War III, like or go have him on the head of a goat, like having sex with a dog, like
that's what I'm saying. Like you don't know, like
if they want to make him the ambassador of a different like non-profit organization
that he might not have agreed with
anything. Yeah,
like imagine this. Now it's gonna have to go the other way around, where the actor is gonna have to have the morals clause. Like you can't make me do this in your videos, rather than the studios requiring them to have a morals clause.
Yeah,
to not misbehave.
Well, these contracts before were old entertainment contracts. Were saying we own your likeness heretofore in the future in all universes across all space and time, and people were just signing it because there was no thought of like
what that meant.
Like what does that even mean?
Deepfakes,
LOL,
they didn't exist.
signed.
So it was like, yeah, right. So you're gonna put my face on a T-shirt, okay? But they were getting roped into those contracts. So at least now they're getting paid. Like Bruce specifically got paid because he knows his likeness is going to get used in perpetuity.
I mean, I feel like the technology will also have to evolve pretty quickly because as people have access, like I think about like the amount of stuff I used to watch and thought looked good because I was watching on a small TV, and then you watch it on a larger TV and you're like, holy crap, I can't believe I thought. Like the best examples are like fire. Fire always tends to look very, very, it's very hard to mimic what fire actually looks like when you recreate it digitally. Same with human breath. Like once you see it at a higher resolution, it just doesn't move the same way.
Do you know? Do you like motion smoothing?
Like
on TV movies and stuff?
No, I don't ever do that.
Because I find it weirdly satisfying to watch the motion smoothing on like I don't know, when I watch a TV movie.
They might actually start like you could probably create you could probably in pre-production and then in camera account for that with your settings.
Yeah.
But that's not probably what most of them are doing. It's kind of like watching IMAX movies on like a regular television when they're shot in IMAX. It looks really good. Or my favorite is when you see the aspect ratio change. Like on a lot of Christopher Nolan movies, when he switches between IMAX and regular film, you see once you see it, you can't unsee it. So they would do things for like honest trailers or videos, like they put the black bars become blue, and then all you notice how it switches constantly, but where you wouldn't notice it before if you were just watching it regularly. I also want to know who is an actor, if we weren't so questioning of this technology, who is somebody that you would like to see brought back if we didn't have the moral qualms?
I mean, are they not already doing that with Michael Jackson hologram concerts?
That's the first thing I thought about was music, because I was like,
they're already doing it.
It's different with music for me because music is inherently in person. Like I think of that as like not the music video version, but I think of music as something that you can see in person, right? So on these lists, I was looking through old actors, like actors that died at a young age, because I was looking for a specific name, and they were listing musicians too, Tupac, Biggie, Selena. They all died young, but that's different because seeing them in person, you wouldn't be able to see the deep fake without a screen or a hologram. So actors you're used to seeing on a screen all the time, not in person.
Okay.
I
don't know. I think it's unethical regardless.
It's like, it's also endemic in this like recycle culture crap where people can't let go of Bruce Willis. Like, who's the real actor that's doing the role that is getting Willis's face plastered on? Like, that actor should be front and center, like getting the accolades.
Well, that's like the headline I made for this episode is like that nobody's getting more screwed out of this than new actors who will not be given a chance to flourish, because why go back? First of all, if you're making a deep fake, you can always count on them to show up on time. You can always count on them. You don't need to pay for travel expenses or anything like that. Like, it's a lot easier. It's kind of like how we used to do practical effects for movies, and now we just do visual effects because it can all be done in post, and it's just less hassle in the moment. It becomes more expensive down the line, but nobody wants to put that effort in on set.
Yeah, like what upcoming actor is going to be the next Bruce Willis? I don't think there is one. And since we know that
Alan Ritchson, the dude from Reacher, he could be the next Bruce Willis.
But he won't be.
Probably.
Because the industry has changed. Like, he just... no one can be as iconic as the current established A-list class is right now. And also, Gen Z is not nearly as interested in watching TV and films as previous generations. And I don't think that trend is going to change going down in the future.
So they just use the deep fakes to keep the older generations happy.
Yeah, as you go out on into the big.
Thank you guys.
The big lazy boy in the sky. You will be watching Bruce Willis deep fakes.
That is a depressing way of thinking about it. I'm literally thinking, because I literally just the other day, one of my favorite movies is a movie called Lucky Number 11 with Bruce Willis and Josh Hartnett. I'm thinking, does that mean I have to get de-aged Josh Hartnett and deep faked Bruce Willis to get the sequel in like 20 years?
We already have deep faked influencers and like obviously digital influencers who are marketed that way. That's why they're relevant. So, and we already have women who edit themselves on TikTok to the point where they're unrecognizable, but it's imperceptible to the people scrolling past.
You know, there's women that go to plastic surgeons and say they want to look like filters now.
Yeah.
That's freaking terrifying.
And that started with like very crude versions of the filters we have today in as late as 2016.
I feel like, what was the last thing you were gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, if you were to make an equivalent for this for Gen Z or Gen Alpha, then it would be like deep faking your favorite TikTok star, because all they do is the dancing. You just put their face on another dancer and you have the same product.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, I don't want to be a Luddite about it. And no offense to Luddites. Luddites are, I guess, people that don't want...
It's not Luddite?
Is it Luddite?
Whatever.
But people that are afraid of technology and advancement, because, like, it's freaky, it's new. I think of all the dystopian weird stuff they can make people do. But at the same time, I'm obsessed. I love video games. I like first-person VR experience where, like, I think the future of movies is interactive, where you're the main character in the movie, or you're seeing the movie through the eyes of whatever character in the movie you want to see it through. That would become
its own genre eventually.
Well, we were talking about this fan-made movie. It's not really a fan-made movie, but it's an AI-generated series of shorts that's going to be generated into a full-length film called Salt. And it's a sci-fi, supposed to imitate like 70s, 80s sci-fi movies. And it's being posted on Twitter, and then the creator of it posts polls for all of the fans to decide what happens next in the plot. And he generates all of the scripts with a text generator, all of the voices with AI, an AI voice like machine, and then all of the images are AI created, and he just slightly tweaks them with editing to make them look like they're moving. And that's going to be a feature-length film, but that seems like the future.
Is that out now? Is it some
No.
of that?
The shorts are all out, so people are following the plot along with these shorts, and they're like pretty crude technology-wise, but it's he promises a full-length film coming up for Salt. So it seems like the more we become like AI, the more that's what we want.
Well, it's
We
kind of like-
want to take creative control rather than receive creativity from artists.
And we live even less in the real world every day. Like how much of your day do people spend out in the real world but on their phone, so they're not even really experiencing the real world, unencumbered from technology.
It feels
anyways.
trite to point out,
I know,
but
it's true.
It's true.
It's like it's one of those things where I tend to catch myself doing it, and you have to kind of learn to put it down and stop. That's not easy.
It's a lot of radiation. It is the real world, though. Looking at a phone, video games, they're there. So they're still the real world. It's just another thing in the real world that you can get lost and obsessed with.
Yeah, but it affects my mental state to be online for too long.
It's that radiation, man. I think it's the radiation coming out of the screen. Because sometimes I'll look back at the screen and immediately feel how I used to feel when I was like, I'll look at the screen, I'll get upset, I'll look away, I'll start to feel normal again. And then when I look back at the screen, even if it's a blank screen, I start to feel like I was just feeling like that.
Yeah.
Like the screen twists me back to my old state of mind.
But even if we're not talking video games and just surfing the internet, you're not passively taking in information. You're taking in curated information and you're actively searching for it, which is a little bit different than experiencing the real world as you talk to other people. It's not the same. Your brain doesn't engage with it the same way, which is why I would have a lot of questions about how the actual process of trying to enjoy a movie that you're also a character in, or that you're also choose your own, like maybe that's just a personality type, but the idea of choose your own adventure movie doesn't interest me.
That's for video games, not for movies, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I love it. If you could watch a movie and then be like, okay, I want to watch it again, but this time I want to be a character in the movie. And then
But don't you think that
then the movie
feeds into
changes.
today's narcissism? That it has to relate to you personally?
Yeah.
But it's also a good way to learn about yourself and learn about interactive experience with humans. Like a lot of video games are like a training.
It's debatable.
I would have to experience it to
And I want to return to your point, differentiating these deepfakes in with Hollywood actors and musicians, because I think that if they're dead, it is unethical no matter what the context is. Because you don't know whether, we have to just be humble and admit that we don't know what happens. None of us have died. We don't know what happens or what it's like to be dead. And then you're using someone's image and voice and likeness and name recognition to make money for either their family or their employees. And you don't know whether they actually would consent to that.
Would you have so you'd have less of a problem with it if they were alive? Now what I'm picturing
if they're
is
alive, at least they can object to it openly.
What I'm picturing now is like Harry Styles. He's so in demand. He's like, I can be in two places at once. You can pay $50 for a ticket to see me in person, or you can pay $40 to see a concert of me with a deep fake.
And that's coming. So that's what I thought when I found this article about Holly Herndon. She is an experimental musician who uses AI machine learning technology to make her music and now to sell her voice. So she created this project called Holly Plus, and it's a tool that enables other artists to make music using an AI generated likeness of her voice. And she's sanctioning this. She is encouraging people to use this product. It's a collaboration with something called Never Before Heard Sounds. And she wants to allow others to distribute her voice in their music. So it's not going to be hers anymore.
That like a weird thing. Like she doesn't care about the money. She cares about the immortality of spreading the sound of her voice to like many different people.
Yeah.
That's weird. Like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I get something sinister off of this.
I mean, I don't know about sinister. I mean, your brain just processes things differently. Is that any different than wanting to capitalize and monetize your voice being sold on album the world over?
I guess if people have the technology to clone your voice anyways, she feels might as well monetize it and earn money off of it, right? Yeah. I respect that at least.
Would she make the money through advertising then on the app or on the site? If it sounds open source, it sounds like she's giving it away. She's not selling it. Well, I guess it's got plus in it. Plus means it costs money now.
She's saying she personally isn't going to be making the profits, but that the profits made from the commercial usage of her digital likeness will be ingested by the DAO, who are able to vote on new tool creation and approve official usage of my twin, Holly Plus.
That is scary to me.
I hate the twin language.
Yes,
it's
they're still
gross.
using it.
DAO,
and she
decentralized
said,
autonomous organizations. They're like decentralized corporations, basically. But one person can still own the majority of the DAO. And then control her likeness. So that's still a risk.
Yeah, and she said, this development raises novel questions about voice ownership that I think can be addressed by DAO governance. So she's not saying exactly how this should be.
Or who, like he said,
interesting idea.
Maybe she's still in charge of the.
It's an interesting concept that it would stay decentralized and the crowd would get to decide what goes next. But you think worst case scenario, and usually that will happen eventually at some point. Well, I mean, not usually, but often. And that would be that one group or entity takes control of the DAO and then controls her likeness, which is very, make her put her face on a dog and have it have sex with a goat. Like, what do you want? You gave it up. So if that's what you want.
But if she's
they're going to do that anyway, man, with your face on the internet and internet video blogs. Sorry to cut you off, man. But like, I think about this since 2006. I've got 3,000 internet videos of my voice and my face going for like 10 to 20 minutes each or something like that. I don't know if it's that many, but they're going to be making deepfakes of me whether I want them to or not. Yeah. So like, should I capitalize? Should I push it or should I just let the water flow?
What is the ideal video of you being deepfaked into it? What is a video you'd actually like to see if somebody was creative and wanted to create a deepfake video of you? What would it look like?
I don't know.
Do you feel okay with that if that were to happen?
Or is it just you've resigned yourself to it?
You've already been deceptively edited to say things that you didn't say.
What I don't like is when people pretend like they're me. So like if someone's like misleading people to think that it's me actually talking to them, if that happens in the future, that's very dangerous.
Yeah.
But as long as they know it's not the original copy, I think it's okay.
Yeah. Well, the lines between digital fakes and real life are gonna be blurred. That's unavoidable.
The digital fakes have got to keep reminding people, I am the digital fake. I'm not the original.
That's why I wanted to address the theory that the more voices and likenesses are duplicated and distributed and sold, then it increases the value of the original. It is like the value of the original person and their original voice increases with the amount of duplicates that are sold. So it means that the original is always going to be more valuable. She said in this blog post about Holly Plus, this approach supports the my collectible ass principle advocated for by Zora and originally proposed by theorist Mackenzie Wark. This principle states that the more prominent and visible or audible a work of art is, the more valuable the certified original becomes. So she thinks that selling her voice and her likeness is actually going to benefit her as an artist and all of her original work more than the people who sell the derivative products.
Yeah, imagine like your in-person fees go through the roof because your digital presence spread out through the deepfakes has been see what I mean?
Big time.
Yeah, like you'd actually be worth twice as much to do in-person
At least
stuff.
if one of those deepfake songs hits #1, then they're going to pay her 1,000 times what they would have paid her to go play a show live, as the original will come on. And
yeah, that reminds me of that Black Mirror episode about Ashley O starring Miley Cyrus, and that was more of a satire about Hannah Montana than anything, but it also talked about the possibilities for digital artists and the original artist being exploited in favor of their well-behaved digital fake.
Yeah.
So when Ashley O wants to step out of the public eye, or she's not comfortable with it anymore, then they want to fully replace her with her hologram, and her hologram is actually more well-liked than she is.
Or like, can they sell the right, like when you sell your rights to a deepfake, do you only allow them to use it in the actual created media for the movie, or do they get to use that same deepfake to advertise on social media? That's a completely different medium entirely. Like, what if you don't want your deepfake to be used to promote digitally, but you're okay with it being used for the movie because that's within the confines of one story?
There's not if they're like
Yeah,
they had to do
can your
commercials.
deepfake do a press junket for the
Yeah.
movie that
And they
it's
can
in?
have you be like, oh yeah, eat the most unhealthy food. Like have you just say stuff you totally disagree with. That's of course the corporations would do that.
Yeah, like that's terrifying.
Other
to me.
people will use you if they can. You got to really protect yourself and your
It's
visage.
almost impossible to write a clause that's specific enough to prevent that, because if you say like you can't make my image or likeness or voice say politically incorrect statements.
Yeah.
The definition of that is going to change in the next year, 5 years, 10 years, going down the line. It's going to be unrecognizable. You cannot write a clause that's thorough and expansive enough to prevent your likeness from being misused.
I think maybe
it's impossible.
The only way to go is to open source your likeness.
So that everybody,
So that everyone has equal access to it.
That's terrible.
Maybe that's what the ultimate goal is for Holly Plus. I don't know.
Really, freedom or like privacy is just a thing of the. I mean, we've kind of known that for a while, that privacy is kind of a thing of the past. But you'll have no right to privacy whatsoever.
Your person will still. You'll have walls in your house, but like, if they know your deepest thought, I don't know if they'll be able to know your deepest thoughts just through the AI.
Or misinterpret your deepest thoughts by having a deepfake say something that you don't actually believe or would ever actually say.
And can someone get in trouble legally for something illegal that their deepfake does?
That's the other thing. I want to talk about the idea that there will have to be whole new lines of law, like new aspects of laws written to actually put the stuff into practice that don't exist yet. Like we're not even close to that yet. Like how do you do this legally?
Dude, I'm looking at this stuff called talking plasma that the military's been working on. It's when they take lasers and they focus them into an area and they hit, like, triangulate 3 or more lasers and they hit this area and it creates a ball of plasma that they can project sound through, so they can teleport sound. So you could do that with someone's likeness. You could and have them be walking around on the street speaking to people, but it's an illusion. It's a piece of plasma. And then if that thing goes into and threatens someone, is your real person going to get on the hook for that? Obviously, you shouldn't.
All this because Bruce Willis just wanted to make a little bit more money and sell his dang likeness to a company.
He's a canary in the coal mine.
Yeah. The only reason that the military has technologies like that is because of independent contractors and people who sell their products to the military.
Thank you, DARPA.
So, there you go.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.